Hello, hello. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Thank you for being here with Tuesday Notary Titans. Today is the second day of June, and we were just saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe that. This year is absolutely flying by. This is TNT, the nation's longest running free coaching program for notaries. We want to give a very special hello to anybody who's joining us for the first time or anyone who is joining the replay on YouTube. Thanks for watching us. We appreciate it. I want you to consider TNT your standing invitation to the hottest room in the notary space. TNT goes live every week because your business doesn't take a summer break, and neither do we. We're here to sharpen your strategy, call out what's not working, celebrate what is, and make sure the decisions you're making are moving the needle. Show up ready. This isn't a vibe session. This is a work session. It's an ask me anything style call where no questions are off limits. Questions that you put in the chat may or may not be answered. We're always going to prioritize folks who raise their hand, and you can find the raised hand feature right at the bottom of your Zoom screen. If you can't locate it, look under the word more. It might be under there as well. And of course, check that chat for room etiquette and announcements and any information that we have to share with you guys, including upcoming events that we are going to be talking about in just a moment. But first, let me introduce myself. I'm Jen Neitzel. I am the creator of Marketing for Notaries, 5-Point Marketing System, the author of On the Move, and the co-creator of the Certified Notary Trust Delivery Agent program. And I do that with my partner in crime, the 2026 Notary of the Year, Miss Laura Beaver. Hi, Laura.
Hi, everyone. Good to be on the call today. So glad you were able to make time in your schedule to join us.
Yes, we always love that. How is your week going so far, Laura?
Well, it's busy. It's
Gosh,
interesting. It's busy.
yeah.
Lots on the plate to manage this week.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I tell you what. I kind of had it in my head that summer was going to be like, oh, we're just going to chill low key into summer. Nope, not
No,
happening
I
here.
hear.
We're going to start with some announcements while we always do, just to give our friends some time to get in the room and get comfortable. Of course, if you guys want to turn your camera on, we love seeing your faces. But Laura, I want you to talk about your book because I'm never going to stop singing its praises.
Well, if any of you are doing hospital, hospice, or homebound signings, the Compassionate Notary is the field guide for you. It's the one I wish I had when I started out 22 years ago, walking into those rooms. It's important that you do the work well, that you protect yourself, that you protect the signer. You can find that either on my website or you can find it on Amazon.
Yeah, and I want you guys to hear that. 22 years in the field experience that went into that book too. I mean, that is really valuable information. Of course, if you are looking for a marketing plan, I encourage you to check out my book called On the Move, the relationship driven 5-Point Marketing System for Mobile Business Success. You can also find the link in the chat. It's going to help you understand and work with other attorneys and title officers and anybody in your town who needs a notary. Now, Laura and I, as you know, are the co-creators of the Certified Notary Trust Delivery Agent program. And coming up on June 20th, so in a couple of weeks at 9:30 a.m. Pacific time, which is 11:30 Central and 12:30 p.m. Eastern, we are giving a free webinar on the estate planning opportunity and the certification. We would love for you guys to come so you can learn how the CNTDA business solution can work for your business. Now, the National Notary Association is hosting their follow up to the NNA conference. It's Elevate to Action post conference support. And the next one, we just had one last weekend. The next one is happening on Saturday, June 13th, 10 a.m. Pacific, 12 no, 12 p.m. Central. Yeah, 1 p.m. Eastern. Sorry. Got myself confused there. The free event does require registration. It's 90 minutes long, and the link is in the chat for you to register for the upcoming one on Saturday, June 13th. FYI, there's going to be another one with a separate link on June 27th. Is that right, Laura? Yes.
Yeah, that's the one, the next one that I'll be on. I won't be on the 13th, but I'll be on the last one.
Yes. So I'll be on the 13th and the 27th. Please come hang out with us, join us. It's a great follow-up system that they've put together from the conference to keep the momentum going. And if you are a student of marketing for notaries, you know that that is step two in the 5-point marketing system following up. So I love seeing the NNA model that part of the 5-point marketing system. It's awesome. All
Oh,
right,
and
Laura,
I'd
are you?
like to add, you don't
Yeah.
have to have gone to the conference to take advantage
Oh, yeah, that's
of
true.
this.
Yeah.
It's not restricted just to people who attended. I was on the first one, and the first half hour, 40 minutes was spent on understanding how to deal with an influx of information, how to organize and prioritize, what keeps us from doing what we need to be doing, how to break it down in steps. And it was really good for anybody who might be struggling with, I'm not sure what to do first. You don't
Yeah.
have to have attended the conference to feel that.
Oh, yeah. No, you just need to be a business owner to feel that, honestly. That's
Regular
what makes
business.
entrepreneurism so difficult, right? It's just all the overwhelm. So yeah, it's a great way to learn some skills on how to manage all of that. And also, if you weren't able to make it to conference, it's a great sort of peek behind the curtain too. This one this year was outstanding. They did an outstanding job. And I love now that they are implementing follow up. It's so beneficial to everybody. All
Mhm.
right, let's get started with our questions. My friend Larry out in San Francisco has his hand up. Oh, before we do that, hang on one second. I do this all the time, Matt, and I'm so sorry. I forgot to, I forgot to introduce Matt Miller, the president of the League of California League of Independent Notaries. He is here on this call every week, backing us up, supporting us, looking up all the details so we can give you the best answers. Hi, Matt. I'm sorry.
Hey Jen, hey Laura, hey guys. Happy to be here again this week. For those of you who are in states that have elections today, don't forget to vote.
Yes, so
I go,
important. Thank you for that message. Yes, so important. Okay. Larry has his hand up. Hey, Larry.
There it is. Hey, everyone.
Hey.
Um, I have a question, a clarification maybe, or a question about personally known as an identifying factor. I've always been under the impression that, like centuries ago, personally known was in California at least no longer allowed. There's no longer a factor in that, and I've been studying because I have to renew later this year. So I've been
Mhm.
studying, and I keep seeing these tests, and some of these test answers say personally known can be, in fact, like they list personally known ID, da da da, and I'm all. Wait a minute, that's wrong. But they keep counting me as wrong when I reject that answer. And I'm wondering if there are exceptions that I'm not thinking about. Like, I think I vaguely remember somewhere, like if you're only using one, what is it, subscribing witness, they have to be personally, this is in California, I'm sorry. They have to be personally known to the notary and the signer. So
mhm.
there's still that factor. Is that, I guess, basically to cut it short, is personally known any kind of factor in IDing someone in California.
Yeah, so first of all, I'm concerned about who you're studying with to renew. That would be giving you information that says in California, personal knowledge could be an identification in and of itself. Every single time in California, when you perform one of the two notarial acts that we have, acknowledgments and jurats, you are going to see somebody's ID. And that ID is either going to belong to your signer directly or it's going to belong to one or two credible witnesses. Whether or not you know the credible witnesses, you will have to see and record their IDs as well. So there's no escape from it, no matter what you do. That's how it works here in California. And so, whoever you're studying or getting materials from to do that, I know it's not the NNA because we wouldn't be telling you that. Oh, what a slip. They wouldn't be telling you that. It's not anymore.
You're retired now, Laura.
But they wouldn't be telling you that.
So, if a credible witness that
Yeah,
can be a fact.
personal knowledge, Larry, in terms of credible witness, allows you to get to one instead of two. But you still have to
Okay, yeah.
identify them regardless. So that's the only thing that personally known a credible witness is. It helps you to go to one instead of two. Doesn't
But
do
you,
anything else.
but you still have to see some form. If you're using one, you still have to
You have to
see.
see their ID, the same
Uh,
ID you would see from the signer.
okay, all right. Thank you very much. Because I was like, I know personally known is not a
But
thing.
since you brought that up, Matt, and you may not know it off the top, but a state just changed their identification rules to exclude personal knowledge, didn't they? Wasn't there a state that just went through that in 2026?
I believe it was Arizona.
Was it Arizona? I thought it was a different state. But yes, one other state this year passed laws. I don't know if it's not effective till January or what month it's effective, that they can no longer rely on personal
Oh,
knowledge, just like California.
I'm sorry. June says it's Virginia. Yeah, they had a lot of changes this year as well. They have eliminated personal knowledge
Personal
as a
knowledge
positive identifier.
as a factor. In California, that went away in 2008. So it's been a while. When I had people in my classes and they're like, well, when did that change? Well, like it changed in 2008. How many classes have you taken since 2008?
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff we notaries need to know. It's hard to remember everything, Laura.
I know it is. That's why we got a handbook and we've
Yeah, I
got
know. But it's
resources.
like, and you know what? It's why we have this call because sometimes, it is a lot and we need somebody to remind us. So thanks, Larry, for bringing that up. I appreciate it. Okay, I'm going to butcher this name. So Miss Santana, Inet?
Agency. Thank you. It's
Say it
okay.
again. Say it again, please.
Agency. Agency.
Agency. Agency.
Yes.
Okay. So just time out. I'm gonna brutalize that for the first couple of times you ask me a question. So just be patient with me. I will learn that name.
It's okay. My question is more like I'm new to this.
Yeah.
I just got certified in New York because of my job,
Uh-huh.
and then I got certified in New Jersey for myself.
Uh-huh.
So I'm basically gonna do this from New Jersey. That's why I'm taking the course. I wanted to know if you had to have been a signing agent before going into trust estates, as
No.
estate planning.
No.
No?
No. So when you say you're taking the course, you're taking the Certified Notary Trust Delivery Agent course. Is that what you're referring to?
Yes, this
Yeah.
course.
No, you don't. Well, this is Tuesday Notary Titan, so this is going to have everybody from everywhere on it. So I just
Oh,
wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
mhm.
It's just on our calendar to share with you. But no, Laura, do you want to expand on that?
Okay. Well, I want to understand the question better. That you're asking if you're required to take the course in order to do that work or before you do other work.
Am I required to have had experience as a signing agent with real estate in order to move forward with this area?
No, two different worlds.
Okay.
However, if you did have that experience, it benefits you in that there are similarities.
Hmm.
There are similarities in how we quote pricing. There's similarities in walking people through documents. There's similarities in working with either attorneys or signing service. There's a lot of similarities that would bridge the gap. So it wouldn't be all new
Mhm.
information, but
Mhm.
you don't have to have ever been a signing agent to step into the estate planning world.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm completely green, starting from scratch.
So the first thing you want to do, scratch as a new notary, is
Mhm.
build competency around your notary skills. Because it doesn't matter what specialty you go into,
Mhm.
you want to make sure that you know your identification rules, your notarial acts that you're allowed to perform. If there is required wording versus suggested wording, or just samples of what they'd like to see, these are
Mhm.
things that are so important for you to feel confident that you know them, so that when you see somebody else's language, you recognize that's not mine. So that
Mm,
when somebody offers you an ID, that's not the ID you're allowed to accept. You
mhm,
recognize
mhm,
that. That's probably the most important thing first for any, I don't care if it's loan signings, whatever it is,
mhm,
knowing that. And if you need confidence building in that, then I would be focused on practicing either doing mock signings with friends or family, somebody who's willing to play along with you, so that
mhm,
you feel confident about the process and you know what your steps are when you notarize and what
mhm,
order works well for you. These are
mhm.
things that'll make it easier for you and for anybody, whether it's trust work or loan signing work or apostille work, whatever it is.
Thank you.
Well, it's so exciting to be at the beginning of your journey.
Mhm.
And I just want to clarify. So you live in Jersey, work in New York. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
and you're going to be doing this in New Jersey.
In New Jersey?
Yes. I already started in New York because it's easy. It's work. It's
Yeah.
basic
Cool.
notary work.
Yeah.
But I will be doing this basically in New Jersey.
That's exciting. So welcome to the business. Crystal put that in the chat for you as well. It's a fabulous business, but I think honestly, it feels like a fire hose in the very beginning. I'm sure you have felt that way with all the information coming at you, right? And I gotta do this, I gotta do this, and then you get on social media and you see what everybody's doing, and you're like, oh my God, I'm so behind. Don't, if I can give you any advice, don't feel that way. Everybody starts out at the beginning and it's just one foot in front of the other, you know?
That's right.
Consistency always wins. Always.
And I
Always.
just want to highlight that Matt put a comment in the chat that I think is going to be very helpful to you. Marcy Tiberio runs that in New York. If you're not familiar with the New York Notary Alliance, then click on that link and go find out about it, because you're going to get great direction, great information from her and that group. You'll be very well supported state specifically.
Yeah, Marcy has been a guest panelist with us on this call. We love her. We love what she's doing. Absolutely. That's a great idea, Matt, for her to reach out to Marcy. Also a former NNA Notary of the Year.
And I'm
Um,
going to just broaden that recommendation because we have lots of other states represented here. And
mhm.
if you're in a state that has a state specific, state level association, you should have joined it by now.
Yeah.
Join it and get that specific information so that you feel confident when you come onto a call like this, where we could have 50 different states represented, that when somebody starts talking about something, you can say, oh, we don't do that in my state.
Hmm.
That's not okay for me, right?
Hmm.
Mhm,
We
mhm,
need to
mhm,
get that conversation internalized.
mhm,
Otherwise, we hear things and we think, oh, I just heard today I can use personal knowledge. Oh, no, you can't if you're
Hmm.
in California. So there are, Matt, are there about 13, 15 states that
Yeah,
have
yeah. I just put a
associations? And
list in
what would
the.
you recommend to find them?
Well, I just put a list in the chat of
You put
the
a list in the
legit
chat.
state notary associations on our
Wow.
website. So check it out there.
So good. This is so good. Thank you guys.
Yeah. And you know
Welcome.
what? Keep coming back to this call and
Yeah.
never be afraid to ask any questions, whether you're at the beginning of your journey or, you're riding the wave and because you've been doing it for, 20 years like Laura. It doesn't matter. That's what this call is for. And there's such a great wealth of information here. So keep coming back and it'll help keep you on the right track.
Thank you.
You got it. You got it. Thanks for the question. Celicia in
Our
Jacksonville,
favorite here,
Florida, the
Alicia.
newly married Celicia.
I even got married at the Rainbow Wedding Chapel. I'm not just the president. I'm also a client.
You're
Yeah.
also a
Anyway,
client. What commercial was that from?
And how
Hair
how
Club
Hair
for
many
men.
Club.
Hair
how
Club
many
for
days
men.
or weeks is that?
3 weeks in a day, but who's counting?
Few weeks.
So, we're talking about the credible witnesses, and man, it's like this gal had had a stroke. She was from Miami. She was like homeless, and they had shipped her up here to a rehab place up here, and the aunt lives in Virginia. It took a year for the aunt to get here. And we were trying to get the gal. Of course, when you've moved from this, rehab center to that rehab center and you've had a stroke, probably keeping up with your ID is not on the top of your list. So this poor woman, was trying to get her in the car yesterday and couldn't get her in the car. I said, but they do have, the JTA, the transportation people will come and they'll get them and they'll roll them in and all that sort of stuff. So I did. I met her down there today at the DMV. The lady finally went because she had had a license in the past. They were able to get her a new ID, but the hoops you got to jump through to get a damn ID if you let it expire or you don't have it. And we just grabbed a couple of people off the street for witnesses to do this power of attorney, so the aunt can help her. And I was trying to get it to be able to do a Ron as credible witness, but you got to have credible witnesses. And the lady doesn't have any damn ID, so there's nobody here that can swear to this is her. I mean, it's a merry-go-round of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I was talking to somebody, and it's like, what can we do? And like, I guess you just have to continue on your legislators and see if there's any way that we can change the laws. Because I mean, can you imagine being in a rehab for a year for because you can't get out because you don't have any ID because you can't. I know.
Well, I think that's, it's to your point. I think that's it's why it's important that people join Matt's California League of Independent Notaries to help facilitate these kinds of changes in the law that we see being an issue. It's not just for California notaries, right, Matt?
No, no, we track and report on bills all across the country. And if you have an idea on how you could identify someone outside of the normal channels, then we could entertain that. But keep in mind, it's got to be a fail-safe method. We
Fail safe.
can't
Oh,
open up the
of course, it's
door
got to be
to
a fail. I
fraud.
mean, I could have just, I could have just notarized it and stamped it like any idiot does.
Right.
You know,
But
There's
you're not
notaries
going
out
to
there
do
that
that.
would, yeah, unfortunately.
we had one the other day that got mad and he called me and said, "Yeah, the guy at your office won't notarize my document." I said, "Can't or won't?" He said, "Won't." My mama already signed it, and she could FaceTime him, but he wouldn't notarize it. I said, "No, he won't." So the guy calls me back a little while later and said, "Yeah, I got a notary to do it. He FaceTime mama and everything's good."
We
Jen,
can only control our actions and our perception. We can't control
Yeah,
others.
Can't
that's
control
true.
others. I can barely control.
Yes. Laura, did you ask for me?
I did. I was just waiting for that to tie up. I'm noticing a couple people on the call that are not identified. They just say iPhone and iPhone 2.
Yeah.
And I think we should make an announcement that if you get kicked out
Yeah.
because we had an issue and we don't want people coming in with just iPhone, we need to know who you are.
Yeah.
And so if you get kicked out, it's because your name isn't appearing, meaning go to your Zoom account and name yourself. It's a free account so that we see your name.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what's going to happen is you're going to be kicked out back to the waiting room.
So we've been
So,
talking right now, iPhone's trying to enter. We've been talking, the last several weeks. Actually, Celicia was the one that brought it to my attention about some notary scams happening.
yeah.
And last week, was it last week? Laura and I had one of our CNTDA webinars. Somebody hacked into the call and was sharing some very inappropriate footage that they should not be. Everybody went into shock. So we are going to be making some changes around registering for this call. And Laura's absolutely right. The first one is that if you just have the word iPhone on your Zoom account, you're probably not going to make it in the room. We need a name so that if there's an issue, we can pinpoint that, obviously. That's how egregious this issue was the other
You're
day.
not the only group that's going to be doing that. If you go to Notary Stars, you cannot get in.
Yeah, exactly. It's not going to just be a TNT thing. I think industry wide, you're going to see some changes about how people register for events and things. It's kind of getting out of control. So we'll have more information coming, but please note if you're joining on your phone and it just says iPhone, Please go into your Zoom account and update your name feature. And I believe you can do that from,
You can even rename yourself right here
Yeah.
if you're in the room.
yeah.
I don't think you can do it in the waiting room.
Wait,
And you just go to where the dots are up at the top of the right of your head, the three dots, and down at the bottom it'll say rename. And that's how you do it when you're in here.
okay, so that's not actually
And
the three
that'll just
dots.
take care of it for this one call. It won't
Yeah.
carry over.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if they're okay. So I don't know if it's not working
I
for
just did
me.
it right at the beginning of this call. I
Yeah.
changed mine from my name to my name and my business name and my state.
Yeah, I know it's easy to find. I just don't know exactly where it is. So
Well, it's
anyway,
just right there at the top.
If you
um,
hover over your picture, there's the mute button, and then there's the three dots. You click the three dots, and you scroll down to um,
rename.
rename, which is at
Yeah.
the very bottom.
Yep, I see it. Um, so guys, be on the lookout for that, not just on this Zoom call, but on others. It is not just us that this has happened to. It's other communities it's happened as well. So, and if you were on that call, again, our apologies. Um, we've taken lots of steps to shore up security on Zoom. All right, guys, please feel free to raise your hand and ask us your questions, whether that's practitioner questions or marketing questions. We are happy to help. Miss Melissa in California, hi.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Um, I have a little kind of discrepancy between different opinions, but okay, when you don't have, we have an ID, but they've changed their name to their married name, let's say, and their legal ID now says their married name. Documents say the other one. Can we use credible witnesses or not? Because that's no longer their name legally.
So are you, I'm not quite sure what you're saying. You're saying
Okay.
their ID is in one name and the documents in another name. You want to use credible witnesses to resolve the issue. And what you're saying is, would that not be a good idea because that name is no longer their name?
Yes,
Because
exactly.
they changed their name, but that name did belong to them. It's not like it was never theirs. And is it because it's a real estate document?
Yes.
Well, they're never going to be able to get it done because you got to follow, there's got to be a path
Mhm.
Yes.
of ownership uh, for I would use a credible witness to reconcile. They know them, they're taking the oath that they're that same person. Whether it's this name or that name, that is still them. And it's that oath is
Agree.
what puts responsibility on the shoulders of the credible witness that says, hey, I understand if I'm lying, I could go to jail or prison for this
Okay.
because they're taking an oath in front of a notary as to the identity of that person. You're following your law, which says you can use, if they can't present ID to verify, they can use one or two credible witnesses. So I don't see a reason not to, just because it's not their name now. There's a reason for that, right? They married, the divorce. It's probably one of those two things. But the
Now, would
name belonged to them.
So they wouldn't have to have something saying formally known as to put, and you wouldn't put both of them in you wouldn't put the other name in there if it wasn't legal ID, right? Oh, but the credible witnesses are
We can't decide the signature line. Whether or not to add formally known as blah, blah, blah is not a notary decision.
right.
We don't control that. We control what's the name I'm going to put in the certificate. That's the name I can prove. I can prove it on physical ID. I can prove it on credible witness, the oath of a credible witness. Those are the two ways I can prove it. And then that's the only name that I'm going to be putting in there.
Okay, I get it. All righty. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Melissa. All right, guys, feel free to raise your hand and we will get to your question. I am going to go to our question bank because I'm sorry, guys, sorry, Laura, sorry, Matt. I'm purposely picking this one because I love this question. I think it's really important, especially for those new notaries in the crowd that are just starting out with their business. The question is, Jen, how do I get started without business cards or other marketing materials? And I love this question because there are free resources to help you in the beginning. I have a whole uh, uh, community built around pop-ins and delivering things and creating professional folders and all the things that cost money. So it may not be for the actual brand new notary whose budget is very, very slim. You guys all remember what that's like working on a super slim budget. So I want to give you a free tool that's going to take the place of your business card. It's called Hi Hello. I'm writing it in the chat. It's an app called Hi Hello, and it will give you a digital business card on your phone so that you don't have to purchase the business cards from Vistaprint. Although I will tell you, they have some just for $10. You can, I think it's like 150 or something you can get. Um, but it's a great way to get your number in people's phones because the thing, and I'm not saying we shouldn't have business cards, we absolutely should. But I think having this app that's free as a business card is also equally as important because that gets your number instantly into somebody's phone. When you hand them a business card, you're assuming that they're going home and writing that information in their contact list. And if you've been to a lot of networking meetings like I have, you know that you get busy and sometimes that just doesn't happen. So I think one of the best ways is to muster up your courage, get in there, learn about relationship building and how to get in there and really, meet people and explain your business and have your elevator pitch ready. All of those tools are free, and so is that Hi Hello app. And I'm not an affiliate or anything. I just think it's a great way to get started for very, very little money. Laura, do you have anything you want to add?
Well, I say wherever I spend my money is an opportunity to have a discussion or get some visibility about being a notary and providing notary services. Wherever I shop and spend my money is where I'm going to say, hey, where can I perhaps insert myself? Another thing is, of course, if you have a personal Facebook page, are you telling everybody on that Facebook page? Because you got your family, your friends, that's your circle. Then they've got their family, other family and friends, that's their circle, and it can expand out and they can help you reach beyond your own little circle. So I would be doing that, on Facebook or LinkedIn or social
LinkedIn, yep.
media. Uh,
And Melissa has said Laura, I'm gonna make a marketer out of you yet. In the chat, Melissa brought up Google Business Profile. That's also
that's
free. There are
free.
there are many free tools that you can put into place in the very beginning to allow you a little bit of a leg up on your budget until the money starts coming in and you're able to allocate a certain percentage that works for you and your business to your marketing budget. Matt, do you have anything that you would add?
Yeah, just look for other free notary related directories. I think Notary Rotary allows a free listing. I think that some of the others allow a free listing as well. So, as you mentioned, there's a lot of free resources out there. Just got to
Yeah.
search for them.
You do have to search for it and keep coming to this call. It's the best free resource I know of out there and has been since 2018, right? So keep coming back to the call and thank you for the question. And Joanne, I see your hand up.
Hey everyone.
Hey.
Have anyone had a signer re-sign their name after they've done a signature by Mark?
You mean they just created their signature?
No, well, so it was a care facility. He was having a hard time, and then he asked, "Oh, can someone, is they're able to sign for me?" Said, "Well, you could do signature by Mark." So that he did after, he scribbled initially what he
Right.
could, then he did the mark. Then after a little bit, I'm finishing my stuff and I asked him to sign my book, and he did really well, better than what he initially signed. And so, he requests, "Oh, well, can I redo my signature?"
Yeah, you could redo a signature. I don't see a problem with that.
Okay.
On the documents, was there a space where he could go ahead and put a signature next to what the
He
mark
did.
was?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just all in there. So I was just making sure. I've just not
All right.
experienced that
Well,
before.
all right, hold on, Matt. What did you want to add?
Yeah, I'm not going to say sometimes. This pops up frequently for elderly or folks who
Mm.
are in facilities because they're out of their element or they're on
Out of
medications or
practice.
whatnot. Yeah, so the very first thing I do is I ask, "How's your signature today?" "Let's see." And I hand them a pad of paper and I say, "Show me what your signature looks like."
Yeah.
Looks like. And if it's
Right.
acceptable, we'll go with that. If it's not, or they're having very much difficulty, then I steer them into signature by mark if they want to do that.
That's a great practice that
Mhm.
Matt is mentioning because I've done that as well. When I'm screening and I say, can they sign your name unassisted? And the family saying, well, I don't know, he might be able to. I say, you know what? I want you to practice before I get there. And I want to see what he can do. And then we can decide which way we're going to go.
Okay.
So for
Right.
future ones, yeah,
Yep. Good one. Thank you.
you're
Thanks,
welcome.
Joanne. Joanne always brings us good questions. Well, Laura, I have another question from our little list here. Are you ready for this?
I
It
don't know.
says,
Since you asked me if I'm ready, now I'm worried.
no. I went to accept a signing the other day and had to agree to certain terms before I could tell them that I was available. The comment box said, the signer has an expired driver's license, but has an interim driver's license. Per us, the signing service, the notary will accept this. So like they're telling the notary they have to accept that. Per us, the signing service, the notary will accept. My question is, can we accept interim driver's license? If the person has their expired driver's license, but also the paperwork for an interim one, can we accept that?
That depends on your state. I'm
It
going to say
didn't
most
tell us.
states are a big fat no, but
Yeah.
there could be some states, I haven't checked in that deep into their laws. There could be states where it might be acceptable where it doesn't say not for ID
Yeah.
on the
Yeah, like
paper. But the thing is that since we don't know what state, then
Hard to answer.
it's
it's
hard
hard
to
to answer
answer.
that.
Yeah.
I guess we could
And they
say,
on the whole, no, a signing service, the bigger answer is a signing service cannot force you to accept ID that is not allowable for a notary in their state. So
Mhm.
whoever that's supposed to be going out to, if it's something that would be allowable in their state, well, then yes, then they could say that. But they probably wouldn't need to say that if it was allowable in their state.
that's
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
You
Exactly.
don't you don't answer to the signing service, you answer to the state.
Yeah, and I think that's so there's a couple of things here why I brought this up today. The first one being, we love when you guys fill out the questions on the little question sheet. If you don't want to raise your hand, we love it. We always refer to it, for questions when things get quiet. But we've got to know what state you're talking about. If we don't know the state you're asking about, we can't fully answer the question. This is a nationwide call. Every state is different, and just what Matt said, we are beholden to our Secretary of State offices, not the signing services. They cannot force your hand to accept an identification that your state says is incorrect.
Right.
She
Another
did
thing,
not agree to the terms, that it
yeah,
didn't go through with it.
didn't happen.
Um, but please make sure when you guys are asking us questions on that form that you are letting us know what state
And
you.
so I want to just point out two things. One, it brings me to an earlier question that we had on the call today. Gosh, it was well, I'll go to the second one. It'll come back to me, the first one. Many states have current or either issued or current or expired not less than so many years. But we're talking
Mhm,
about the hard card at that moment. That's
mhm.
the card we're talking about. This question was about an interim in the meantime. So if they didn't have their hard card to demonstrate that it was expired less than a certain amount of time, that interim card all by itself, that interim paper may not work. You may not apply the same rule to it, I guess is what I'm saying, is the rule is meant for the actual card that's issued from that DMV.
Yeah.
Then there was something else, darn it, and it tied right back
You
in.
referring to the question about credible witnesses, perhaps? Is that the
Yeah, it
one you're
was
thinking
something
about?
about credible witness, but now I can't think of it. Okay, I'm old. What can I tell you?
It, I'm so glad it's not just me that has that brain issue. Thank God. Joanne has her hand back up. She's got another question for us. Hey, Joanne.
Those things happen, yes, brain fog. Well, kind of on that, because now I don't know, they didn't specify the document, right? But I mean, wouldn't lender and title require current, photo
Yeah,
ID anyway?
Often
That
Joanne,
would
do.
it is
be.
very possible that a lender is going to say, I want current ID. I don't really care about the rest of it. And if they say that's their limitation, then I'm done. It doesn't matter that I could identify them that way. If they made the rule that it's current only, then that's current only. Or they might say it's ID only and not credible witness. So
Yeah.
yes, lenders, and it's usually the lenders rather than title that are saying yay or nay to that alternative. Depends on how badly they want it to close.
I've had that issue before.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I have.
Um, thanks, Joanne. Um, okay, I have. Oh, Joanne, did you raise your hand again?
No, no.
Oh, you were trying to put it down. Okay, yeah, I think I beat you to it, putting it down. We have not shared this in a while, so I really wanted Laura to, and I think we've gone over this question before in a couple of different iterations over the years, but we haven't reviewed your orientation questions in a while. And this notary asked, when a signer is signing a POA, a power of attorney in their home, and a family member shares that the signer has onset dementia, would you ask orientation questions?
Well, whether or not it was been disclosed, I would be asking,
Hmm.
regardless. And it just happened to me Sunday. I went into a skilled facility, and he wanted actually to revoke the power of attorney, naming one daughter, but he had two daughters there and his wife there, and that daughter that's named as a power of attorney um, wants him to stay there, like permanently. It's long-term care. And the other daughters are saying, no, he doesn't belong here. He's going to die here. We want to take him home. We'll have help to help him and his wife. And so I went through assessment questions with him. Actually, I had an extra time because I had to get some witnesses. So while I was waiting, I engaged in conversation beyond my four questions. My four questions that I start with, and I can do more than four, I might do six or seven, depends on how well they do. Can he tell me what his full name is? He can tell me that. Can he tell me where he is right now? I'm looking for orientation. Does he know where he's at? He's in a hospital, he's at home, he's in a long-term care, whatever it is. He may not know the name of it, that's okay. Now I know he knows who he is and where he is. Then I want to know, do you know what document that you're being asked to sign today? Either he can name it, he can describe it for me. In this case, he described, I want to stop this power of attorney. I want to go with my two daughters who are going to let me out, basically. I said, okay. And then Kim walked, I was by myself with him. The fourth question typically is, are you willing to sign it? Are you telling me you want to sign this document? Because I'm looking for willingness. Yes. Now, as I hit that fourth question, the wife comes walking in because she wasn't in there. And I asked him, who's this lady? That's my wife. I've been married to her for 50 years, right? So we start engaging in conversation about that. So the more I can engage beyond my four questions, that's just the minimum I do. That's what I call screened. The more confident I feel when he's consistent or the signer's consistent with what they're saying. And so we got through all of that. I didn't know about the dementia because nobody said anything to me about it. And of course, they're not required to disclose his diagnosis to me anyways, the facility. So I took care of it. I got the document signed, got another one that says the other two daughters are co-agents. I'm done. I go out. I get a call yesterday saying, I think you were the notary who notarized the revoke a power of attorney healthcare. I said, yes, I was. And this is the other daughter who wasn't there, the one they removed. And she said, he decided that he just doesn't want any power of attorney. He doesn't want any of his daughters. He wants to make all his decisions. I said, okay, I can come back. And if you guys have another document that revokes the one he just put in place, and then we don't make another one, right? Not a problem. I can do that. Then I said, just tell me when you have the document ready. And so it's getting close to around the time I told them I'd be available. And I texted her back and said, hey, do you have the document ready? I'm available now to go back over there. And what she said is they took him out and took him back to Arizona. That's where the daughters live, the two daughters live. Husband and wife took him back to Arizona. And so there's nobody to sign. This daughter that lives, I'm assuming more locally in California, probably Bay Area, didn't realize that happened. Then she comments, and next time you should be checking their mental status before you notarize anything. So I wrote back to her and said, as is my custom and practice, I always screen my sign because he has dementia. That was the thing. I always screen my signers before I will notarize for anybody in any facility. Even if they look like they're great, I'd say, okay, I need to ask you these questions. It's just my practice. So I did it every single time. And then she wrote back, well, we'll have our attorney contact you. Now, I don't know whose attorney she's talking about. Her attorney, the dad's attorney, made up attorney, who knows? But people get a little bit ticked when people make decisions. Now, he had a stroke, although I didn't see what was not working because his hand was working. Everything seemed to be fine. But maybe needs physical assistance at the home. And I did ask the daughters, I said, well, he's in here because he probably needs some physical assistance. And they said, we're going to have 24-hour care for him. We're bringing in caregivers for him. Okay, I don't really need to know anymore about that. As far as I'm concerned, he met my requirements. He was able to sign his name unassisted, and he's with family. So there's no reason for me to think about it any further.
So dramatic. You're going to have to keep us updated if she has.
This is like my third assignment just in 30 days, where the one before that was a guy worth $200 million that I mentioned somewhere, probably on my Saturday call. And the wife said, let's go out for a burger. And she took him to a facility and left them there.
Are you kidding? Oh my God.
So the adult children are like, what the F? And they
Oh.
get up and bring him to the daughter's house and take her off, take the wife off as the power of attorney for healthcare and financial. So this kind of stuff, and I talked about the guy 2 months before that was in Monterey, and the guy said, the son said, hey, let's go to my house. And his house is probably 2 or 3 hours away from Monterey. And what he does, he drives him to Modesto, which is how I end up getting involved, and drops him out of memory care with no cell phone, no nothing.
You told me about this.
Yeah.
God, what is wrong with people?
I've gone to court on that one already.
Yeah.
And they lost. This guy had it going on. He was like 92 or something, and he was great. This middle one just started, the really wealthy guy, and now this just happened on Sunday. So I'm going to tell you, if you're going to do hospital, I don't want to scare you. I'm not worried about any one of those cases. Why? Because I have the same process every time, over and over. I ask the questions. I observe what the family dynamics are that are going on. And if you do those things, somebody can say, well, I'm going to challenge because they're mad. doesn't mean they're going to be able to do anything about it.
Doesn't mean they're going to win yeah. Well, I want everybody to know, look in the chat. Our friend Jen Cooper, who used to help us on this call,
Yeah.
she is now at the NNA, but she has a link available for Laura's competency questions. And I encourage all of you to click on that link and copy those so you can keep that in your notary toolkit. But wow, you really have had some very dramatic.
Had some dillies just recently. And by
Yeah.
the way, somebody who bought my book recently, I can't think who it is. It might be Jill. She was telling me that she highlighted the questions because they're in the book, but she also wrote them in the inside of her journal. So here's what I'm going to tell you guys. It was the
Oh,
best thing she ever shared with me. I think you should take those 4 questions, whether you take them from today's chat or from the book if you have it, and transfer it into the inside cover of your journal so you have it right there.
yeah. That's
Or on your phone.
or on your phone.
Yeah,
That's a
on your
great
phone.
idea.
Either way, yeah, if you're an e-journal, then it would be, but 85% of the people are paper
Yeah.
still. So yeah, have it on something that is easily accessible so you don't have to try to remember what were those
Yeah.
4 questions.
Yeah. That's awesome. Thank you, Laura. I really wanted to highlight those today. I appreciate that. And keep us updated on all your drama. My God, it's like the
And
pit
if
for
I don't show up one
notaries.
day,
Like,
you'll know why.
I
yeah.
love when they say I'm gonna have my attorney call you.
Yeah, my
I
attorney's
love
going to
that.
call
Yeah,
you.
go do that. Go do
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
Don't have to call me late for dinner, okay?
Yeah. Veronica has her hand up. She's got a question for us. Hey, Veronica.
Hi, sorry, I can't get my video working. I'm on my
That's okay.
iPad. Um, okay, so my question has to do with ID. I just had a situation just a couple days ago, and somebody had given me a matricula consular ID card, which
What
I had
state
never
are you
seen
in,
before. Pardon?
Veronica? What state are you in?
I'm in Kansas. Oh, sorry,
Kansas,
I
thank you.
usually have that on there. Kansas and Missouri. I had never seen this ID. Um, and she also had an expired U.S. passport, which I can accept in Kansas.
Uh-huh.
And so I felt more comfortable taking the U.S. passport because I just wasn't familiar with this ID. I went back and I looked, at the handbook, and the way the Kansas handbook reads for IDs, it says I can accept a passport, driver's license, or government issued non driver ID card, or another form of government identification that contains a signature and a photograph of the person and is satisfactory to the notary. And I can use expired up to 3 years.
Okay, and I'll tell you that the matricular card,
Mm-hmm.
consular card is government issued. It's on
Yep.
many lists for notaries to use. It's
Okay.
California even accepts it as long as it has the PPSS, the 4 elements on
Yep.
it. So I understand what you're saying is I don't recognize it. I don't know if that's a real government issued ID card. So it says, and satisfactory to the notary. So you're standing on, it's not satisfactory to me because I'm not sure
Well, I
about
wasn't at the point,
right?
and
That's,
I
is
might
that,
have.
is that your logic?
Well, the thing was, I knew for certain I could take her U.S. passport. Even though it was expired, I knew I could accept that because Kansas allows me to use a passport that's expired up to 3 years. So that I knew I could accept that.
Okay, so yeah, so you were confident that that
On that.
idea was going to work per your rules. You just
Yeah.
weren't so confident about the other one. But here's what I would be doing because you did the first thing, which is you looked at your own law. Um, uh, that's the first thing. If your law wasn't clear, the other thing is to call the hotline because
Right.
they have the list of IDs per state right there at their fingertips, and they could tell you if that fits the description given. Some of us, they actually just say, here's your list of IDs and there's nothing else you can use. That would be me, my state. And other states say government issued ID, photograph signature.
Yeah.
So that's when it gets a little bit, well, do I recognize government? To me could be county government, city government, state
but
government,
but also
federal government.
foreign government. That's it doesn't say a US passport or a US government ID. It just says a passport, a government
To me,
issue.
a passport means all the countries of the world.
Right.
Because
Okay.
it is a US passport specifically.
It would be more specific if okay.
Yeah.
And-
Kansas 535A07 says just a government issued non-driver ID that is current or expired not more than 3 years
Yeah.
before the performance of the act.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to make sure that I was reading government as not just US government. Or
No,
they
it
We have to say
would have to
they would
say.
say.
US government. I mean, really, they're pretty specific. If they
Yeah.
meant US passport, they'd say US passport.
Mhm.
And ours delineates. It says US passport, and then later on it says foreign passport. And the requirements are slightly different, and a lot of notaries don't know the fine detail that a US passport doesn't require a photograph, a physical description, a signature, and a serial number, but a foreign passport does. Because if it's in group 1, that's your California driver's license, California non-driver's ID, US passport, passport card, and then the jail stuff, jail, prison. They don't have any other requirements other than they're current, right? That's it, current or issued. Then all the other like 8 or 9 IDs that follow that, they have an extra requirement, which is just a fine detail that says, and it has to have a it has to have the 4 elements. I call them PPSS: photograph, physical description, signature, serial number. So some notaries will say, oh yeah, it's right here on the list. It says I can take a passport, a foreign passport, but not all foreign passports have everything. Now yours isn't that specific, but that's how specific it could be.
And Kansas only requires photo and signature on the ID.
It's got 2 of the elements.
Yeah.
Which is more common to find.
Okay. Yeah.
All 4 elements. You know what's usually missing on those consular cards is the physical description. Although they 2 years ago they updated it to generation 3, and in generation 3 for the consular card, they added a physical description, which could be gender, male, female. The problem is anybody who has the older one, it's not fixed, and anybody who's a minor, it was never changed. So you have to look at the card every time to make sure that that particular card meets this requirement.
So the consular cards are issued by the country that they come from?
So that's the consulate office within the state. Within your state, you have a consulate office.
Got it.
That can issue consular cards.
Okay.
Now the consulate, right, Matt?
That is a government issued ID. So yes.
Yeah.
What I love about Kansas's law is item C says a notary may require an individual to provide additional information or identification credentials necessary to assure the officer of the identity of the individual. So you're allowed to ask for as much or as little as you want.
Yeah. You can ask for extra ID. And I love that. And I love that it said satisfactory to the notary, because sometimes the right ID they give me is not satisfactory because it's been through the washer 10 times, because the dog chewed out the face, because of all kinds of, it's half, right? There's just all kinds of issues that happen with our IDs. And they're like, well, here it is. I'm like, that's not going to work for me. It may be on my list, but it's not satisfactory evidence for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
So good for you to be deciding what you felt confident about using.
Yeah. Thank you. I mean, I would have called. I have other resources I could have called as well, other than just the NNA hotline.
Oh, sure.
But it was like, I knew one met my, requirement, and I would research the other when I had time away from the table. So thank you.
Veronica, that's why they call her the GOAT, Laura the GOAT, right? Well, guys, we are at the end of our hour together. I do want to address Crystal's question really quick in the chat. Matt, this is for you. Is there a place to look up relevant litigation to specific laws, like a case study for notaries?
Good question.
Is that a good question?
There are two very different things, right? There's legislative law, which goes to the legislature and is passed into law and signed by the governor. And then there's case law, where courts decide what
Right.
the interpretation of a law is. And the best site that I have ever found that is very robust and covers all things is Justia, Justia, Justia.
.com.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to put that in the chat, justia.com. Thank you for that. I knew you'd have an answer. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Please don't forget there's a survey that is going to pop up right after we end this meeting. We would really appreciate you filling that out for us. You know, we take all of that information to heart. And as I do every week, I'm going to put Miss Laura Bewer on the spot to close us out. Laura?
Yes. This time I found something a little bit ahead of time that I loved and I want to share. And it is a Japanese proverb. And it says, even monkeys fall from the trees. I want you to think about that. Meaning, skill does not eliminate mistakes. Experience does not guarantee perfection. Even the best, uh, uh, even the best sometimes fall. Failure is not proof of incompetence. It is proof of being human. And so when people ask me about insurance, should I have it? I say absolutely, but that's not what I rely on. I rely on being good. But does it mean that I could get distracted? Does it mean that something could happen? Yes, and that's why I have it just in case.
Love it. Thank you, guys. Have an absolutely fantabulous week. We'll see you on Tuesday. Have a great
Bye,
one.
guys.